Hello guys, so it's me back here again. What is today? Thursday, April 9th, and I figured it would be a good idea, and I thought about this just the other day because I apply it in my private practice. And I don't know why I didn't think about it sooner, but it could be just my own thoughts and feelings associated with this. To teach you just some mindfulness or at least an emotional sensing check-in during this time, and especially for those of us who are almost overwhelmed with all the responsibilities, the multitasking, the ability to work remotely, or not even first responders, and just being running around so much and doing so much, whether it's coming home, being at home, like I said, working remotely or not, coming home, then working at home with children or not, the part of our unbalanced, can we say, schedule, and what is it that we can do in a moment where we need a break, an emotional break, a mental break, even though we still have to continue. So something that I do in my private practice is something that is called tune in, and that is TUNEIN. Tune in means tuning into your five senses. And most of us, especially now, anytime, every day, it doesn't matter if it's COVID or not, but more so today, always say, I don't have time for meditation, or I don't have time for space, or relaxation, because we have to do X, Y, and Z, and then there is never enough time in a day or never enough days. So tuning in is really something that can take you a minute, 5, whatever you actually wanted it to be. And it has to do with tuning into your 5 senses. And now we know what those are. It is the hearing, the seeing, the smelling, the tasting, and feeling, the touch. So when we find ourselves in a distraught moment or any moment of a day, we can utilize this skill, even when we feel like we don't have time. Because get this, with this skill, you will have time, I guarantee. So for example, what I do in my private practice, and I will do my best explaining it, since I always like to show it through this audio, is I take a pen or a marker, washable marker, whatever it can be, and I put a dot on my top hand. So right below whatever finger, I want to put a dot. And I don't have freckles on my hands, so I make a dot with the pen or marker visible enough that I know I can see it. And why my hand? And I don't say inside my palm, I say on top of my hand. And I usually actually mark it down right in between my pinky and my ring finger. I don't know, I guess this is where I've been doing it, and this is where I see it the most. So I put it big enough that I can see it. That if I'm on a keyboard typing or washing dishes or doing something with my daughter or writing, I can see it. And it's a reminder to me to let me know, hey, how are you feeling today? So an example that I usually use is, and I just said a few, whether it's keyboard, dishes, writing. So the example that I usually use with my clients is pretend that I'm washing dishes. And notice I did say use a pen or a washable marker. Washable marker in this situation may not necessarily be the best because the first time I wash the dish, it is gone. So but that's my own personal preference, use an actual pen because it can last me even if I take a shower or wash, and I can wash dishes all day. It doesn't necessarily come off right away. So I wash my dishes, and let's say I'm doing hummus or errands and running around, and there's almost no time to sit down and relax, meditate, check in. So I wash my dishes, and because I'm doing what? Using my hands all the time, picking up dishes. I'm not saying dishwasher because that's an easier mistake to miss it. But dishes. I look at my hands as I'm washing the dishes quickly, and because I have a next task to do. And I look at my hands and I say, oh, shit, there's a dot on my hand. Quick reminder. What does that mean? You know, Joanna, let's check in. Let's check in with your senses. So you're washing these dishes, and at the same time, you can, in a moment, like I said, a minute or 5, check in with your 5 senses. So the first thing that I say to myself when I see this dot as I wash these dishes is, what am I seeing? And observe what you're washing. What's dirty? What's clean? Stay there for 10 seconds or however long you want. So I'm seeing. So then I'm, let's say, smelling. What am I smelling? If I'm able to smell something, great. Dish detergent. Maybe I can smell the sponge or whatever it is and how great it smells. Then I can say, what am I hearing? All right. What am I hearing? The water running. Some of the external noises that I hear. So I'm just tuning into these senses. What am I hearing? What am I smelling? What am I seeing? What am I tasting? Now, I mean, that's probably harder than not, is I might have something sweet in my mouth or not, but I can also imagine. I can imagine, let's say, having a lemon in my mouth. Phew, most of us probably made a squinty face here. So taste. What taste would I like to have or not have? And the last one, and the reason why I'm leaving it for last, because it's important, is touch, feeling. So the last one is, what am I feeling here? And I could choose to touch my heart, how fast or how slow it's beating. And I could just check in. So I'm taking all of these senses and I'm checking in with myself. How am I feeling? I'm registering this. How fast am I washing these dishes? Does it really matter if I slow down for a minute? And I just check in. Am I anxious? Okay, what is it that I can do? I could take a deep breath. I could take 5 while washing these dishes. So tuning in during this moment. I could do the exact same thing, while on conference calls and sessions. Because even though I am recording this podcast here, I am allowing myself to look at things, to hear things, to smell things. A candle that's burning next to me can smell quite good. So I can feel for a moment. And I think it is quite needed during this time. Not to take it away from any other day, but more so today. So I know I wanted to log into this podcast because I thought about this yesterday after having a deep conversation with someone that I know. And I was explaining to her about how tuning in works. And she pointed that out and how good it was to hear about it. So I figured it would be a good way to put it up here. And I hope in some ways it can help all of you out, whether it is the first responders. And I say first responders because regardless of what's going on, it is a hard job. The emotional almost turmoil is so difficult, so traumatic, and there's so much stuff, I don't even have a word to put in, that you are dealing with. So I hope that this tune-in session can help some, if not most of you out during this time. The time to relax, even if it takes 1 minute. All you're doing is just tuning into your senses, to what you're hearing, the sounds, to what you're seeing, the beauty, to what you're smelling, the positivity, to what you're tasting, the sweetness, and to what you're feeling, calmness. So you all can do this. For now, be safe and well.